Hello, North York, and welcome to Meet Your Neighbor, a Willowdale interview series. Each week, we introduce you to a new neighbor in the spirit of community connection, and we ask them the tough questions like, who's the cutest dog in Willowdale? Our guest tonight is a local business owner, violinist, and longtime Willowdale fan. She owns and directs the Willowdale School of Music and is also the co-founder of Shop Willowdale, a local business directory in Willowdale and Toronto. We're so excited to have her. We can't wait for you to meet your neighbor, Sarah Murley-Hauser. Before we start the interview, allow me to introduce your host, the one, the only, Lily Chang.
Thanks, Sebastian, and hello, fellow Willowdalers. Before we begin our interview tonight, I want to do a shout out to a bakery that sells every week at the People's Church Farmers Market, Made to Eat Bakery. I want to thank Ashley Campbell for her sponsorship of cookies for our youth drop-in in an under-resourced community. Those cookies were gobbled up and they looked very healthy and delicious. So thank you so much for your sponsorship, and we look forward to consuming more of those yummy cookies Made to Eat Bakery, and you can actually pick them up tomorrow or on the 24th. So eat away. Okay, let us welcome our special guest. She has actually graced our screen at some community events, contributing her music. But today we're going to hear a little bit about her story and her love for our community. So let's say hi to Sarah Murley-Hauser. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have this chance. I'm so happy to have this chance to chat with you because I've heard you play music and I've seen your activity in our community group, but we've never had the chance to sit down and just chat about your love for our community and your dreams for the work that you're doing. So first of all, maybe you could just share with us a little bit about your journey to starting the Willowdale School of Music, because as everyone can see, you are quite young, for someone who directs a school of music. Probably people are thinking, wow, this is quite an accomplished entrepreneur. So maybe you could just share, how you had this dream and how it came to pass.
Yeah, thank you. So I started taking violin lessons when I was 6, but I had started asking for violin lessons when I was 3, and I knew what a violin sounded like. And I would be driving in the car, and my mom would have the radio on the classical station, and I'd be like, "Mom, that's a violin." And she'd be like, "Yeah, that's very good." And then she was like, "But she probably doesn't actually know what a violin sounds like. Like she doesn't know what it sounds like. It's just she hears it on the radio, and somebody says this is a violin. She's like, oh, that's a violin." And I kept asking for violin lessons, and finally, I came to her and I was like, "Mom, if I'm going to take violin lessons, I need to go and get a violin. We need to go and buy me a violin." And she's like, "Okay, fine. This is serious." So I started taking violin lessons when I was 6, and it was just, I wouldn't say it was all, peaches and ribbons and rainbows. It was pretty difficult. I definitely hated playing violin for many years, which is something that you don't really think about when you think of, somebody who's running a music school and somebody who went to university for music. But I didn't like playing the violin, but I stuck with it. And looking back on that now, I realized that was such a huge part of my childhood. We were not allowed to not take violin lessons. It was like, well, you started, so we're gonna keep violin lessons going. And obviously as a teenager, that was not cool, but now I'm like, wow, I think that I am a really good human being for, sticking with violin lessons for that long. I can tell that the skills that I have built as an adult, as an entrepreneur, those were based on taking violin lessons from the time I was 6 years old, which was a long time ago. And I realized that kids need this. It's not just me. I'm sure every adult who took music lessons would say that they were great, and half of them would be like, I wish that I hadn't quit my music lessons, and the other half would be like, they were amazing, and I'm so glad that I stuck with my, playing my instrument. So I went to school for music, and I started working for another teacher, and she was always like investing in me and giving me opportunities. And finally I was like, I should probably just start my own music school, because at some point I need to, make music lessons available to not just the kids that I can teach. So I started hiring teachers and expanding, and this is where we are today.
Wow, that's amazing, and such an encouragement for a mom of kids who complain about practicing.
every kid complains about practicing, even adults.
So, because you're just like, do you keep going? Some kids get scarred for life because their parents, and we're pretty patient, but you're just like, oh, it's hard to muster that, because mustering is not just the child, it's the parent who's mustering with the child. So it's a commitment, right?
Yeah, and I definitely don't think that my job is the hardest, and I don't think that the child's job is the hardest. They definitely go through a lot of difficult things when they're taking music lessons. Parents' job is definitely the hardest. They work the most when it comes to their kid taking music lessons. So the parents are the real MVP here.
I feel it. So, I'll be honest, here I am making a confession to a music teacher. We're taking a break from piano practicing this summer, and it's really not a break for my kids. It's a break for me.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally understand that. I've heard from a lot of parents who are just like, my kid could keep going. I cannot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shout out to all those parents. As the banner says, shout out to all the parents out there. You are the real MVPs, and it takes a lot of effort to be a music parent.
Yes, we thank you. We thank you for the acknowledgement on behalf of parents. So, pandemic hit, and a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners like yourself had to pivot a few times. What has been the impact on your school, and what opportunities has it created?
It has created a lot of opportunities. We definitely did lose a few students last spring. We didn't lose anybody right away when the pandemic hit, but there were a few families that just said, we have way too much online going on. We also had a few, there's always families that, unfortunately, one of the parents lost a job or something like that, so they couldn't keep going. And a lot of families were like, this is a natural place to finish. But being able to pivot to online was such a blessing. Like, I had already been teaching online to a student, for a student in China. And so I knew what teaching online was like. So I've been very blessed, because now I can impart wisdom to my teachers and be like, it's not as scary as it seems. I hired a new teacher, and she's like, please, can we do some training? And I was like, just take a deep breath. It's okay. It's not that scary. It's just like teaching in person, but you have a computer in front of you, and you can share your screen, and it's so a lot of opportunities. We've been able to expand to teaching not just in the city. We have students outside the city. I have a few students in Asia, which is crazy. I wake up very early for that. Yeah.
Wonderful. And glad to hear that things have continued. I know it's been a struggle for a lot of people, so glad to hear things are continuing, and hopefully there will be in-person music lessons in September.
That's what we're planning for.
Yeah. So I think, you have this creativity, and you also love community, and you're an entrepreneur, and you put all of that together, and you met our wonderful community member, Michelle Oliveira, and you guys together birthed Shop Willowdale. Can you tell me, how that synergy came to be, and what is, your hope for that? I don't know if you want to call it a business, but a service to our community.
Yeah. So it started with the music school, Willowdale School of Music, and I wanted to put together a gift guide for the kids, for all of the WSM families, and give them things that they could shop for that were music related. And I'm looking through, Toronto and Willowdale. I'm like, there's nothing here in Willowdale. So I created this like gift guide on our website of all music related things that were in Toronto. And then I was thinking, it would be nice if I could find some like local Willowdale stores to buy my Christmas presents for my family and friends. And I realized that there was no list like that. There was, a few, there was Yelp and, I don't even know what else there is anymore. There was a few like boards with just businesses that you could tell were like really old and there were businesses on there that didn't exist anymore, which is sad. So I decided to create like a spreadsheet and that was fine. I was like, spreadsheets are amazing. I love spreadsheets. I'll just make a spreadsheet for businesses. And I think I had like one business sign up and I like sent it out and everything was fine. And then Michelle was like, this is amazing. Like, we should really take this and go. And I was like, okay, what are you thinking? And she was like, let's put a website together. And I was like, okay, sure. And then we were kind of brainstorming and we just decided that it was going to be Shop Willowdale and we were going to concentrate solely on Willowdale businesses, which unfortunately there's not a lot compared to like the East End or the West End or, those very concentrated artsy, creative neighborhoods. But yeah, we've been able to grow and add quite a few Willowdale businesses. We've expanded to GTA because there's a lot of friends and other businesses that would be amazing to have that don't live in Willowdale. So we thought, you know what, it doesn't have to be just a Willowdale thing. We can share it with the rest of the city. And eventually we would really love it to be, jam-packed with small local businesses that you can just go to. Like, you need some, cards, go to the card shop down the street. You want to buy soap for somebody to put in a Christmas stocking or something like that. You just head on down the street to the soap store or something like that. Or you order your soap from a mom who makes soap in her kitchen, which is amazing. We need more people like that who just create things and sell them and are entrepreneurs.
Well, I think that there are a lot of new entrepreneurial home-based businesses that have started in the pandemic. Yep, and so hopefully more of them will come out of the woodwork in time for our, Christmas 2021 shopping. That would be wonderful because, it's hard to find in a consolidated place all the different artisans that may be in our midst. And, we've seen in our own little Facebook group the amount of artists and creativity that are just coming out. We have photographers and visual artists. No one's making a business out of it yet, but, I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. There's definitely this trend towards starting small businesses. I think we're seeing that the entire world over, that, it's not so much fun to work for, a big company anymore. It's much more interesting to do something that really challenges you creatively and uses skills that you have or you want to, build on. So I think we'll see a lot of businesses coming up.
So, between the Willowdale School of Music and Shop Willowdale, that is two journeys that you've had where you've gone from a concept to something that is, actually able to serve people. What advice do you have for potential entrepreneurs in our midst, in our neighborhood, who may be like, I have this great idea. What would be the first next steps for someone who, has an itch and a vision of some possibility?
Yeah. I would say start by writing everything down. I write everything down. And I have multiple notebooks. And if you want to see if something is really going to follow through to the end, start writing stuff. Journaling it is an amazing way to really just get stuff out from inside of you. Because we can have this vision, right? So for example, like, I want to make candles and I have all of these scents in my head and I can see what they're going to look like and what the jars are going to be, and who's going to buy them, right? But when you start writing it down, you might, realize, oh, like if I buy this many jars to put the candles in, it's going to be this much, right? So start writing stuff down so that you can see on paper, not just in your head, what everything is going to look like, what everything is going to cost, how much effort is going to go into it, because it's going to be more effort than you think. And then get it out into the world, okay? Make social media profiles. That's a lot of people underestimate the power of social media. If you create a Facebook and an Instagram account and you start taking pictures, that's going to help your business grow a lot faster than you just trying to hawk, candles to a little stationery store or something like that.
Yeah, I notice now even Instagram has a marketplace that you can search by products. So the cost of creating an Instagram page is free versus if you create a website, it costs money. So
yes,
social media is a great starting place to test your idea and gain a following. So really good advice.
Yeah. And also just realize it's going to take time. I would say try and stick with it for 3 years, which seems like a long time, but you're unfortunately not going to see the growth that you want right away. And you have to stick with it. It has to be a habit that you're building. Building this business is a habit. It's part of your everyday. Just keep at it. And if this is a vision that you really see coming to fruition, it will, but you have to keep going. This is not something that you can sleep on.
3 years. Wow. I think that's also good advice for someone, revitalizing a charity from scratch. 3 years. Okay. That's good to know.
It might be a little bit different. I've never done a charity, but I can see where the two would sort of meet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, what is the connection, do you think, between small business owners and, the community?
I think it's huge. The connection is the entire thing. As a community member, I want to see more people that I can support. I want to see my friends starting businesses, and maybe my friends are not people that can start businesses, but there are people out there that I can, they're my neighbors and I can support them. I would love to give my money to a friend rather than to a large company or somebody that I don't know. And I think that building a business really strengthens the community because you're giving your neighbors opportunity to build into your lives, and you are investing in their life as well by supplying them with services or merchandise or something like that.
And, when you're starting a business, what is the, actions that you can take to help foster community among the people that you are serving?
That's a good question. Definitely looking for places where you can, sorry, you're going to hear my cat. She's trying to get in. You'll probably hear her. Looking for opportunities to donate your time or your money or products will be very helpful for you and for the community. A lot of people think that this is kind of slimy, yucky. I have to, donate, 4 free music lessons to a fundraiser or something like that. It feels yucky, but you're doing something nice for them. You're getting your name out there. More people are going to see you. Also, people are going to realize, this candle business, they want to invest in the neighborhood. They're not just out here to sell their candles. They actually want to, give candles to single moms in Willowdale. They want to give candles to the hospital. They're not just in it to make money. They want to do nice things for the community. And then you feel better too.
I think that's a great tip, and it just creates that symbiotic relationship between the business and the community. Now, I know you recently moved, and so you've landed in a new place, new neighbors. What's your strategy for, building connectivity right on your new place of residence?
Talking about things that I see in their yard. Yeah, I love gardening. That's my when it's winter, I'm all about my inside plants, my indoor tropical plants. And when it's summer, I'm all about my garden outside. So when I'm walking down the street and somebody's out in their yard, watering their plants, I'll be like, it's such a nice yard. And they'll be like, oh, thank you. What's your name? And I'm like, I'm Sarah. I just moved in down the street. So talking about, mutual things. Like if somebody has a really nice yard, obviously they really like gardening, go talk to them about gardening. If somebody has a nice dog and you have a nice dog, say hello, ask if your dogs can meet. Just looking for things that look mutually agreeable to each other, and then bite the bullet and go talk to them.
That's a very good strategy and so important now as we're journeying out of the pandemic. I feel like people want to know their neighbors. So here's where I get to do a little pitch. We are launching a week called Meet Your Neighbor, and we're inviting everyone to host a small meetup for the people on your street or the floor of your condo. So basically we're gonna share invitation templates, and our challenge or invitation to our community members is to invite a handful of people around you and it can be as simple as, I am serving lemonade on my driveway on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Come by and say hi and sip some lemonade with me, and let's get to know each other. So what do you think, Sarah? Are you, not to, but you're in a new street. This could be a really good way for you to, rally the troops.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to be one of the invite hander-outers to my street.
Yeah, a local host, I guess. You could be a host on your street, and I bet your neighbors will thank you. Because I started to talk to a few people the other day, and already there's like an excitement, like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Oh, I want to. So I think it could even snowball into, I'm just waiting. Someone's going to say, yeah, and I'll bring my barbecue. We don't have a barbecue, so I'm waiting for someone to say that.
Oh yeah, we don't have a barbecue either. So I'm like, does anybody have a barbecue on our street?
Lemonade. I'm going to start with lemonade.
I'll bring the drinks. You can bring the barbecue.
Yes. Yeah, so that's our little thing that we're and so we're doing I'm going to start a Willowdale rapid fire round in a couple minutes. But before I do, we do have a question from someone who's been watching our interview, and he happens to be the guy we interviewed last week. He is a wonderful member of Willowdale who actually lives in New Jersey. Hard to explain. But so he would like to know, who are some of your own personal musical influences?
Good question, Howie. Definitely there's some composers in there. Growing up, Vivaldi and Bach were two of my favorite composers. But also my very first violin teacher, Heidi, was my inspiration to go to university and learn how to be a better violinist. But also Rebecca, who is a really good friend of mine now. She was the catalyst to me, she put the fire under my butt to go and start my own music school. And yeah, so I count all of those people as friends, and not Antonio Vivaldi and Bach, but the women, Heidi and Rebecca. Yes, so they are my inspiration and my,
That's great. And and just a shout out to Howie's group, Willowdale in the 70s, a loving group of 18,000 people who all love Willowdale. How can you go? And I just love the message of encouragement and inclusivity that exists in that group. So everyone should check it out. And I also want to say, anyone who wants to ask a question can type it in the comments of this live stream and we will see it. So if you have a question about, how do you start a business, or, what is your favorite violin piece to play? I will ask that question. Yeah, I was going to
We're asking that question.
I just thought.
Okay. Like to play or to listen to?
To play.
That's hard. To play. I mean, I play a lot of kids, like beginner violin stuff these days. My favorite piece to play would probably be Humoresque by Dvorak, and Antonin Dvorak is the composer's name, and it's a student piece, but it's one of my favorite pieces to play. It's from Suzuki Book 3, and I really like it.
Yeah, I play music. My kids are in Yamaha music, and I play some of the pieces, which are very anime-like, and I really enjoy it because I can sight read it, and it's not hard. But music can really define a young person's journey.
Yeah.
I know, I still really enjoy the planets. It's because I had a music teacher in high school who just would play it for us all the time. And you just grew. And I think we did play one of the planets. I think we played Jupiter. So yeah. So it can really become part of the soundtrack of your life. Like, I've played the planets for my kids, and they're so young, but it's like, it's quite magical.
Oh, and the planets is such a kid-friendly piece as well. So shameless plug. I do email packages called Must Know Music, and they're for kids, well, and for parents. Parents get the emails; they give it to their kids, and it's all music that kids should know. And Holst's The Planets has been like the hands down favorite. Anytime I send it out, people love listening to it. I love the planets. I've loved playing the planets every single time I've played it in an orchestra. It's just good music all around.
Mm-hmm. And Howie is asking, what are some tips for promoting or instilling in children a love and appreciation for music?
Good question. I would say that listening to music at home is a big must if you want to instill love and appreciation. It's hard to appreciate something that you don't know about or do much of. So listen to music, have the radio on in the car. Do people listen to the radio anymore? I don't know. Put a playlist. Yeah, I do too. Put a playlist on in the car, listen to it, listen to music while you're eating food, talk about music, go and see concerts when that's possible. There's a lot of kid-friendly concerts. And the TSO does lots of children's concerts that are specifically for kids, and they're interesting and they're interactive. I love going to them, and I'm an adult. So there's lots of picture books that are about music as well. If you go on to any of the kids' bookstores and just search for musical books, talking about music really just gets kids, juices flowing, and they want to know more. If you make it interesting and you are interested in it, they will be interested as well.
So it sounds like your suggestion is really just be immersed in it.
Yeah. And even if you're not into taking music lessons right now, you can be immersed in music. That's okay. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be, going to take music lessons to appreciate music.
And there is someone now asking, how can we sign up for an email package?
Ooh, you can go to our website. It is www.willowdaleschoolofmusic.com/must-know-music.
Okay.
Maybe we can get that up on the bottom, but that might be a bit.
Willowdale Schoolofmusic.com.
Yep. /
And then
must know music.
Must know music. I've put it down as a comment, and then we can then put it on there. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so we're going to now do the Willowdale rapid fire round. Okay, are you
All
ready?
right. Yep.
What is your favorite spot to hang out in Willowdale?
Ooh, that's an easy one. I love Anotherland Coffee and More, the cafe south of Shepherd. Hong is one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. Just such a nice person, and her cafe is like so cute and inviting and just warm and cozy. And she makes amazing food.
Awesome. And what is your favorite place to eat in Willowdale?
That's a hard one because we have so many. We love food. My husband and I, every week we try and go somewhere new, or we just eat the same thing over and over and over again because we love it. So Dakgogi is one of our favorite places. We love the kimchi fries. Sushi One is my absolute favorite sushi place. Paisanos is amazing, and My Chicken is just fantastic.
It sounds like you could add a food blog to Shop Willowdale.
I haven't done that yet because there are so many food blogs in Toronto about all the amazing restaurants in Toronto.
I know, but there's no Willowdale food blog. And I noticed in our Facebook group that there's quite a bit, there's lots of foodies. I think we had one of our longest threads was about where to get spicy oil.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Everyone was like, oh, and I know. And then it kind of went to rest. And then someone revived it, the thread.
Just keeps going.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, we live in a neighborhood where a lot of people really appreciate and seek out good food. So,
oh, yeah.
And what do you think sets Willowdale apart from other neighborhoods?
I think that it has a really good feeling of being within the city, but not being, part of the city. And I think that has to do with the highway dividing us from downtown or uptown. And I think that we also have like a good feeling of community and neighborhood as compared to other places. Like I know that the East End has a very, very like cemented feeling of being small town, but Willowdale is on its way to being that as well, right? You can walk down the street and you can see somebody that you know, and that doesn't happen, say, downtown. So it just feels very like cozy and homey, and I think it could be even more than that.
I think so too. And how have you seen Willowdale change over time? I mean, how long have you been in Willowdale?
I have lived in Willowdale for the past 7 or 8 years, but my mom grew up in Willowdale. So my grandmother and my aunt and uncle live in Willowdale right now. So I've seen Willowdale kind of grow up, as it were, and I've watched, those nice cute little strip malls go down and big condos go up. And that, I'm not saying condos are bad, but it's just interesting to see the evolution of the neighborhood. So I've seen it go from down here to all the way up here. And that just means that there's more people that we get to meet and more people that get to be invited into our neighborhood. And that's awesome.
Yeah, because I think without condos, a lot of, especially young families, would never get a foothold into the neighborhood. I know my first place in Willowdale was a 1-bedroom, a condo. And yeah, I think if there were no condos, I probably wouldn't be able to afford to live in this community.
Exactly. Same with us.
Yeah. It's a good starter community, and to land somewhere and start your family and meet wonderful neighbors.
Yeah.
Is there a hidden gem in Willowdale that you're okay to share with us?
Yeah, I was thinking about this question earlier, and I was like, I don't know where my hidden gem is. I really like the cemetery on Senlac and Beecroft. The back portion of the cemetery, when you go in from Senlac and you keep going towards the valley, I think that's my hidden gem because a lot of people go there. Everybody knows that it exists. It's not a hidden gem, but there's really nice walking paths in the ravine on the other side of the cemetery. It's just a nice place to go, with the dog, with some friends. And it's just nice to get out and walk in big open spaces.
So there's Howie with a joke, the back portion versus the back portion.
Yes.
And actually, so I have a joke that I tell people, and that is that I live and I'm going to die in Willowdale. And they're like, okay, that's not funny. But actually, when I married my husband, he already bought a plot in the section of the cemetery that you're talking about. So I was like, oh, so you have a plot. Oh, it's like, that's wonderful, I guess.
Very efficient, cheap for you.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, and I guess it increases in value, but you'll never cash that in unless you want to be buried somewhere else. But it's good to know you think it's a beautiful place, because now I know I'm going to be buried in a beautiful place. Okay, and what's one thing that you would love to see more of in Willowdale?
More small businesses. Yeah, more just, candle makers and jewelry makers and people who sell make donuts in their, kitchen and sell them. Just all the little things that you need, but you have to go to like Shoppers Drug Mart or the dollar store for. I just want to see neighbors make those and just cheer them on and buy all the things from them.
Actually, I went camping a few weeks ago, and my friend, who does not live in Willowdale, brought these delicious buns. And I was like, where did you get these? They were like Filipino sweet buns. And she said she found them at a Instagram baker near Yonge and Finch. So, I think we have them. We just don't know them. There's probably a lot of niche, small businesses. It would be great to know them. So we need to, put out some signage or something to rally them together so that we can support them and enjoy more delicious food.
Yeah, I do have a plug for Shop Willowdale. We do have postcards coming out soon. We're going to do a postcard drop soon. So keep an eye out for those. If you are a local business owner, you make something in your kitchen or in your garage and you sell it, please just DM us, talk to us, let us know what you do, and let's get a partnership going so that we can let other people know about you.
And do you guys have a planned partnership with the Willowdale BIA?
We do not.
Yet. I mean, they're just getting off the ground, so probably, they have a journey that they need to go on.
Yes.
But it would be good to see more synergy because, the BIA right now is defined very much by physical, tenants of shops, but we know businesses extends far beyond that definition in this day and age. So seeing more synergy between the two would be a wonderful thing and help everyone to consolidate their support for the neighborhood. So,
yeah.
And last question, what is your most memorable moment in Willowdale?
I should have thought about this one a little bit more. I don't know. Going for walks with my friends. So I remember the unfortunate van attack on Willowdale, and I probably should have prefaced that with a trigger warning. So I'm sorry if that is not helpful for you. But I remember I very narrowly missed being on the streets at the time, walking through Mount Lastman, and afterwards seeing all of the entire city come to Willowdale and seeing the graphic art on the sidewalk. That was just so healing and very positive, and it allowed me to sort of let go of all of the hurt and the pain that had gone into that happening. So I really appreciate how loving Willowdale can be and how enveloping the people in the neighborhood are, because when something like that happens, they step in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Yonge Street tragedy brought the best out of us, and it actually showed us the potential of who we can be. In fact, it was because of the Yonge Street tragedy that we started We Love Willowdale, and the legacy of that is now, I think, being sewn into the DNA of the revitalization of NeighbourLink North York, that we can be connected as neighbors and strengthen each other and provide opportunity to those who are struggling to improve their circumstances. And I guess our hope is that everyone has a chance to thrive, which cannot happen without the love and investment of the entire community. And so I feel like we got a taste of that after the Yonge Street tragedy, that we all came together, we rose to the occasion, and we can keep doing that for the people who are falling through the cracks or just need an extra boost in this season of life. So,
yeah.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for spending time. I'm so glad to just have a chance to get to know you more and hear your heart for the community. And, I think it takes tremendous courage because, for some people who want to teach music, they would just look for a school to teach in. But because you have taken a huge leap of faith, I'm sure, to establish a school, you are able to then employ other people, provide employment opportunities, and as well foster community among the people who come to your school. So you have not just taken your skill to pass it on to one other person, one at a time. You've done something that impacts our community as a small business owner. So thank you, for taking that leap. I'm sure there were moments when you've been like, oh my gosh, can I keep doing this?
There still are, just so you all know.
Well, we hope that you will persevere, and, we're happy to, share whatever you're doing. So keep us posted on all the wonderful work that you're doing, Sarah.
I will definitely keep you all posted. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a joy to be here this evening and to talk with you, Lily.
All right, well, have a good night. And this is when we welcome Sebastian to, take us out.
Amazing. Woohoo. What another great chance to meet a neighbor in Willowdale. It was so awesome to have you, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. As I always say, if you want to be a guest on the show, connect with us. We'd love to meet you. Email sebastian@neighborlink.org. And like Lily said, we've got Meet Your Neighbor Week fast approaching later on in August. To find out some more information about that, and Willowdale Yard Sale Day, which will culminate the end of Meet Your Neighbor Week, a chance to shop the neighborhood. Visit neighborweek.eventbrite.ca. Or you can head to our website, neighborlink.org/events, where you'll find out some more information. So we're excited about that. There's so much more to come this summer here in Willowdale. We'll see you next time, same place, new neighbor. Good night, North York. Good night, Willowdale. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you.